And we should go through once just before. But this time we're going to shock the patient. We're charging. Clear the patient.
Like 900 of their colleagues, Steve Schaefer, Kim Gropp, and Chuck Smalley are not only firefighters and emergency medical technicians. They are also licensed to administer life-saving electric shocks with a defibrillator.
Really, it was through the advent of the technology whereby the machine would actually interpret the rhythm for the firefighters. That was the big obstacle, because you had to have a doctor look at the rhythm and say it was a life-threatening rhythm, or you had to have a paramedic look at that rhythm and say it was a life-threatening rhythm.
Every first responding engine company in the city is now equipped with a defibrillator from Marquette Medical Systems. About 100 lives have been saved. One of the most dramatic saves in 1996 involved these three firefighters. When they first saw Kurt Osnick last September, his heart had stopped. He had no pulse and was not breathing. Part of a metal fence he was installing at a Northside factory touched a high voltage line, shocking him with 26,000 volts of electricity. But everything worked in his favor. The firefighters had just finished another call a few blocks away.
So then dispatch gave us the run and canceled the other engine, which was 3 to 4 minutes away from the scene, whereas we ended up being roughly 45 seconds from the scene. We were only maybe 4 blocks away, and that's what sped up the process on that.
Company workers also helped save his life by immediately performing CPR, and the defibrillator was available with the shock to his heart, bringing him back to life. Osnick got together with the firefighters again at recent ceremonies for National Emergency Medical Services Week.
It meant a lot to see him again, and they did a tremendous job. And I don't want to see him in those circumstances again, but they could call me anytime.
The ceremonies honored all Milwaukee firefighters who were involved in life-saving efforts last year, situations in which the Marquette responder was used to resuscitate patients. 74-year-old Elmer Paget was also there to congratulate those who saved his life.
I can tell you this is probably one of man's greatest inventions. What else can you think of that comes in a little box and can save a guy and bring him back from the dead, really? It is an amazing machine.
Every year we have the opportunity to pay honor to the Milwaukee firefighters who have been involved in saving the lives of our citizens and our visitors, and you can't do that enough, and I know the people of Milwaukee really appreciate that work that's done every day throughout the year, 365 days a year.
The Marquette defibrillator has a built-in recording system, and for the first time, Kirk heard a condensed version of the dramatic effort which brought him back to life.
Everybody clear, shocking. Check pulses. Continue CPR. Come on. Firefighter Smalley, EMT, engine 36. We have an electrical shock, 26,000 volts, unknown age. Patient is approximately 165 pounds, 175 pounds. On scene, about 5 minutes, CPR was being done when we arrived. 1 shock has been administered. This time we have pulses. We pulled the combi tube. He was choking on it. We're vacuuming. We're going to go BP. We have a solid 102 for a pulse right now. You can understand me once you squeeze my hand. Okay. Kirk, his name is. He was P&B, 26,000 volts through his body. P&B, when we got here, they were doing CPR. We shocked once, 200 joules, started CPR, got him back.
So that was the actual scene, and as you can see, it can be quite exciting. There can be commotion, there can be indecision, but the final results is that Mr. Kirk Osnick, a 32-year-old gentleman who has much to live for, a family, is still here with us.
Smalley says they were so excited that they shared high fives after bringing Osnick back to life. They're still very proud of what they did, but modest. crediting good luck along with excellent equipment and training.
The early CPR and early defib is the main key. The quicker you get that on board, the better survival rate you're going to have. So everything worked out that day, and we're all happy, and and he's alive today, so it makes us feel good.
To have no lasting effects now, basically, in a couple scars, is just, it's very shocking. It's really nice to see him all the time. We keep in touch, and it's just nice to keep in touch with somebody like that now, because you did have an impact on their life, and you go through a situation like that, it ties everybody together.
Every 6 months we're doing training on CPR, the D, and it just comes natural because we do so much training at the academy. It's just a natural thing.
I mean, people might, see this and think that, they're heroes or anything, but we don't take that. We don't feel we're heroes. This is our job. This is what we get paid to do. And everything just worked out that day.
And every run does not go that way. We've, for one good, we get 5 bad. So it's at least. So it's nice to see something like this, because actually, this is odd. It was odd. It was good.
The quick response, CPR, and semi-automatic defibrillator are all an important link in what the American Heart Association calls the chain of survival.
Yeah, that chain of survival starts with a person calling 911. Certainly the public can do that and activate us quickly, saves time, not calling their neighbor, not calling their friend, but call 911, call us. Next would be early CPR. We can have people learn CPR, or even if they've seen it done on 911, the television show. If you do something, it's better than nothing, because think about it, these persons are dead. So you can't hurt them any more than they already are. Next is early defibrillation. That's where the fire engines come in, getting there quickly and applying that defibrillator. Then finally there's the paramedic units, who will keep the patient stable and get them to the hospital. So if we can get all of those elements working for a patient, we have found that their chance for surviving a cardiac arrest increases by 50%. And I think that's truly amazing.
The next step is to make the defibrillator more available, and the prediction is that it will happen because they are so important.
And I would predict for you that eventually, 10, 20 years from now, every post office, every restaurant, every public building will have a defibrillator.
The American Heart Association estimates that if 10 people have a cardiac arrest and they receive defibrillation in the first minute, that 9 out of the 10 would survive that cardiac arrest.
It's been nearly 10 years since the mayor and common council endorsed what has become a wise investment.
The Milwaukee Fire Department's got to have one of the best EMS systems in the country. Our training,
If not number one.
yeah, we've heard some rumors and stuff that a lot of other companies across the country go off what we do for testing and what we test product-wise, and like the Marquette, a lot of other companies are using the defibrillators we use because we are the ones that tested them and perfected the situations.
If the stuff piling up at your home says caution, toxic, corrosive, or danger, or if you don't even know what it is, dispose of it in the right way. You can do that and help save the environment by taking household hazardous waste to one of the mobile collection sites in Milwaukee County.
Now residents have a place to take the materials, so it ends up either being recycled, reused, or it ends up in a landfill or incinerated properly instead of ending up in a general municipal landfill.
For the second year, the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District is collecting unwanted materials at these mobile sites. Last year, about 6,000 people unloaded over 200,000 pounds of hazardous household waste, mostly paint products and old pesticides and herbicides.
Well, I've got 3 containers of gas, and I've got about 8 cans of oil-based paint. Okay. And I brought it just because I don't want the gas going into the groundwater. I want to get rid of it the right way, and the same with the paint.
Anybody in Milwaukee County is eligible, plus the residents of Menominee Falls and the residents of the Caddy Vista Sewage District, which we service in Racine County.
West Allis?
No, Milwaukee.
What's your zip?
53215.
There is no charge for disposal, but you will be asked to verify residency in the districts served by MMSD.
The important waste that we got, even though they sound small, we got 150 pounds of mercury. And mercury is a bioaccumulating toxic material, and any fisherman out there knows that mercury is one of the big problems we have in the Great Lakes. So getting 150 pounds out of the system and into a proper recycling or proper disposal was really a big thing. Dioxin's another one probably people have heard about. PCBs, we got in about 200 pounds of PCBs and about 200 pounds of dioxin materials, containing materials, and getting those out of the mix was a really good thing to do. And it sounds small, but those are the big ones. We got we recycled about 50% of the paints and gasoline products, anything that was flammable. They put that into a fuel blending, so that goes off to cement kilns and other incinerators where they can actually reuse that for the heat, the BTU, British Thermal Unit, whatever they can get out of it. They can sell that and actually reuse that material. So instead of just dumping it into a landfill, it actually gets reused. We try to reduce the landfilling as much as possible, but for some materials, like most of the toxic poisons, the pesticides, herbicides, the only thing we can do with those is incinerate them. So I would strongly urge people when they go out and buy herbicides and pesticides, buy only what you need. Then if you can't use the rest, give it to your neighbor or share it with your neighbor or share it with somebody, because the only way to get rid of that is incinerate it, and it's very costly.
Here are some examples of what to bring to the hazardous waste sites: aerosol cans, chemical fertilizers, and floor care products. Oven and drain cleaners need proper disposal, as do gasoline and brake fluids, herbicides and poisons, flammable liquids, and pool chemicals. Don't bring these items: latex paints, used motor oil, medical waste, commercially generated waste, and ammunition and explosives.
You look on the can, it says caution. Look on the can, it says flammable. Look on the can, it says toxic, or it has skull and crossbones. Look on the can, it says hazardous. If it has a long booklet of instructions that says this is how you're supposed to use this product, bring it here. If it's a little jar of something that's sitting in your garage and you have no clue what it is, bring it here. If it's a coffee can full of stuff, bring it here. That's what we want people to do, is not to take a chance. There's really no reason at all that people have to dump things down a drain. There is now places to go to properly dispose of it. You have to wait a little bit, but it's a lot better than dumping oil and things down in the storm drain and ruining our rivers and lakes.
Remember to be careful when bringing the materials to a disposal site. Take precautions to prevent leaks and spills. Don't mix products. Pack them away from people and pets. Dispose of them properly. These products have warning labels on them for a reason.
I guess you could say we're a traffic cop, if you will. We're a greeter, we're a director, we're sometimes just a royal pain for the school system, I guess, and the parents. But I really do believe we're making it safer.
Lance Renier has two daughters attending Thoreau Elementary School, located along busy 60th Street on Milwaukee's northwest side. While volunteering to help with school bus congestion in the small circle drive at the school, he became aware of another major problem: speeders.
We had people like our crossing guard out here. In crossing guard, we clocked a car doing 67 miles an hour through the school zone. She had kids in the street already, had to jump out of the way. So it really became a major problem.
Lance called the police department's safety division to borrow one of the city's speed display boards. There are two types of these radar control devices. One is mounted on a frame, the other sits on the trunk of a car. Both are powered by being hooked to a car's cigarette lighter. The speed display boards are generally loaned for a one-week period to Milwaukee residents who have complaints about speeding.
And they came out, they gave us one for a week, and we sat out there with it. And it actually did help slow people down a lot. In fact, it went into a second week by a request of the police department. The police department is District 4. They're really nice. They worked with us. We had officers out here, and they sporadically came out through the course of the whole 2 weeks and actually wrote a lot of tickets.
They've been successful in the other cities, and we thought we'd give them a try here. And they do slow up traffic.
Witkowski says while they do slow traffic while in use, the long-term effects have been mixed. But he adds they are part of an overall effort to curb speeding and an important educational tool.
Well, especially on a neighborhood street. You cause some awareness then on your neighborhood street that you're concerned about speeding. On the major streets, well, you've got transient traffic, people that aren't there every day, so the long-term effect probably isn't there. The short-run effect is. And as you know, Milwaukee's had a police enforcement effort to slow down traffic and make sure that they comply with the speed limit. So using a speed display board, you tie right into that effort and help reinforce what the police department is doing to slow up traffic too. The two work hand in hand.
Lance agrees that the tendency for drivers is to slow down for a while, then speed up again when the board is gone. But he thinks he's a reminder to many drivers of the speed display board.
The majority of the people that go through here, I believe, are regulars, and we see a lot of regulars. So if you happen to notice when you're out there, some of the people wave to us and they realize and they watch, and you've still got a group of them that they're not going to slow down no matter what. But I think the fact that we're still out there and we're jumping around and trying to flag them down makes them remember that there is a speed limit out there that's special for the school zone.
The Safety Division will show volunteers how to set up the units and store them when not in use. Volunteers must remain at the site while using the display boards.
We in turn asked the police department to have a squad sitting downstream from the board at least one of the days that it's out there. So in effect, you're getting more than the board, you're getting some enforcement. And for those non-believers in the sign, they get to be believers when they come across enforcement a block or two past the sign.
Renier says he would recommend that others try using the speed display boards to raise driver awareness. But with or without them, he'll keep working to reduce speeds at the school.
No, we're not going to go away. We're going to be out here. We're going to, if you will, keep being a pain for people because we're not going to have kids killed or hurt out here.
There is no cost for use of the speed display boards, which are scheduled on a first-come, first-served basis. Call the Safety Division at 935-7994 if you'd like more information on putting a speed display board in your neighborhood. When you think of summer jobs for youngsters, this type of activity might come to mind. These teens are part of the City of Milwaukee Urban Forestry Program. In this project, they're rehabbing a vacant city-owned lot at 36th and Lisbon, working to create an environmental education garden. The education and employment program produces a number of benefits.
Yes, to keep the community clean, looking nice.
How about for yourself? What does it mean for you in the summertime to have a job?
To keep money in my pocket and stay out of trouble.
But this is only one of about a dozen work, education, and training programs that serve Milwaukee youngsters. A new initiative in 1997 involves these young people in a number of professional fields. They are part of the Milwaukee Internship Program. The city is administering 34 summer internships. The money to pay their salaries comes from the employers or private donations. The students are working in the fields of law, medical and health care, architecture, education, and business. In the Clerk of Circuit Court's office at the Federal Courthouse, you'll find Dragana Zivanovic, a law intern, and junior at Hamilton High School.
I thought this would be an experience for law because I've always been interested in law.
Where did that law interest come from?
As a kid, I used to watch too much TV, as most of us do, and I used to watch LA Law frequently, every night, glued to the screen, and then Night Court later on. And it's always been a fascination with me to be in a courtroom arguing with my parents all the time. I thought I would be a great lawyer. But I've never been in a courthouse. And then when I came into the program, finally, first time in a courtroom and experience in being around lawyers was great. And it made me think that I'm interested in doing something maybe further in my career. And it was just amazing and interesting to see how many different aspects, and not only lawyers in the law room, the courthouse, it's just so many different things around the law, like the clerk of court's office, so many other jobs and possibilities for careers that you could do around law.
While the intern learns, the employer also benefits from the program.
And we look at it too as a two-way street. You know, we are offering the students some experience and really an education in what's going on in the courts, in the federal courts. So the student gets a lot of opportunities to sit in on court cases and also to help in the office and do some clerical tasks.
And you've been pleasantly surprised, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's been fascinating. We've had some wonderful, wonderful students.
It's very challenging because at first you don't know exactly how you're going to be taking in what kind of work you're going to be doing, but after a while you get into the system and you kind of feel like you're really a part of a team. And I think it gives you good experience for later on in your career fields, for interviews or any kind of jobs you want to pursue, and especially an interest in college, what kind of courses you might want to take or major in.
The new professional initiatives are an expansion of the summer law internship program started 4 years ago by Charlotte Westerhouse, then an attorney at Foley & Lardner.
Well, typically your interns for the summer are college students, and I strongly believe that the earlier you start with children in the K-12 system as far as mentoring, the earlier you educate them about career options, the earlier you educate them about what it takes to go on to school and educate their parents, the easier and quicker they'll get into some of these professional fields. So I wanted to start a little earlier than the traditional college interns and thought we start in high school, working with high school sophomores, juniors, and some seniors who are going on to college. Also, the vast majority of the time I started the program of lawyers that I knew lived in the suburbs. I live in the suburbs, and all they knew about Milwaukee youth, unfortunately, is what they read about in the newspapers, which is not a real positive picture, and I don't think is very accurate either. So there was a negative perception about high school students from Milwaukee, and then Milwaukeeans have a very negative perception, I know, about lawyers, with all the lawyer jokes, and the fact that we come into the city, make a great living here, and then we go back to the burbs. So I thought that there was a disconnection with the Milwaukee youth and some of the pillars of the community as far as legal community, and I wanted to bridge that gap.
Now, as co-chair of the expanded program, she and others are bridging the gap with other professionals and could expand even more.
First, I wanted to say we don't look at success as far as the number of interns, but the quality. And so we've been very successful due to the high interest of the students in Milwaukee, the high interest of the employers, and the quality over the last year of the various interns that we have.
Stephen Gladney is another teen taking part in the Milwaukee internship program. Stephen, who will be a senior this fall at Bayview High School, is an architecture intern. He's working with the Facilities and Maintenance Department of the Milwaukee Public School System.
Well, for one, architecture is my major, so this is helping me seeing what it's really like out in the field. So when I'm there, I already know basically what it's like and what I'm gonna be doing.
From the short time you've been here, has it changed your mind at all about the field of your interest?
No, it's actually leading me more to it because I'm learning a lot more about it. It's a real good program for students who they maybe graduate from high school or like me going to senior year and have doubts about the career field they might want to go into, and just give them a chance to learn more about it, get a more up-close view on it.
Like the other professional internships, Stephen may be learning more than he realized he would about his field of interest.
This gives a student like Stephen or someone from our School to Work program the opportunity to see what the process is in the school in architecture related to a process in a building, design work, remodeling work, something along that line. He has a chance to see the steps that go through in order to work in the field, and this is something that gives him the opportunity to make a decision on a career that I want to continue in the field of architecture. Computer drafting has become a big issue. That's all of our plans are now done with the aid of the computer. Students see that opportunity now. This is a new technology field. This is something that you could go into from there and branch out from architecture into a lot of different phases from that. A lot of design work, cabinet drawings, piping systems, things that are all being done now on computer too. It opens up a lot of fields of possibilities.
And here too, having an intern is also a bonus for the employer.
We have a number of projects dealing with high schools right now where we're looking to verify existing information in some of the schools, specifically electrical. Stephen's assisting in pulling out the original drawings from the building, helping us locate where the information we need is on the electrical plans, providing prints of those plans, and then turn over to the engineers that are doing the design work. So that helps us at a time not only in areas that we would normally be doing ourselves. He's filling a void because of additional manpower that we could use, but it also at the same rate gives us the opportunity to show him some other things that maybe areas that he may not be aware of in school, that this is something you would do if you continue in the field of architecture that could give him a plus or a minus in continuing in that field.
This has been a very, very successful program. It's a humbling experience in some ways to think that all you have to do really is be one person, and you can call up various people in Milwaukee and they can really get involved with high school students. It really wasn't a whole lot of effort. Everybody on the steering committee are volunteers. We work together, we raise the jobs, we raise the funds, we select the students. It's all volunteers. There are a lot of people in the Milwaukee area who are keenly interested in Milwaukee youth, who want to get involved and to do something. It's a very high energy, very involved, small group of individuals, but you couldn't ask for a better group of people who are interested in Milwaukee and its youth.